Alright. Good afternoon or good evening, sports fans. Big Al here on this Monday, May 19th, 2025. And we are back to take a look at the latest Major League Baseball standings through May 18th. And we'll also take a look at the final regular season standings in the National Hockey League, I should say, for the 2024-2025 regular season. That being said, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, ring the bell, and get notified every time I go live. And off we go with the latest Major League Baseball standings through May 18th. And we are going to start in the American League East, which is led by the New York Yankees. Through Sunday, their record is 27-19. They are 15-9 at home and 12-10 on the road. They've scored 266 runs and allowed 176. Their run differential is plus 90. They are 7-3 in their last 10, including a win in last night's game. In a virtual tie for second place, you have the Boston Red Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays. Boston is 23-25, while Toronto is 22-24. Both are 5 games back behind New York in the East. Boston is 12-11 at home and 11-14 on the road, while Toronto is 13-12 at home and 9-12 on the road. The Red Sox scored 234 runs, allowed 226 for a run differential of plus 8. While the Blue Jays have scored 179 runs and allowed 207 for a run differential minus 28. Boston is 4-6 in their last 10 games, including a loss on Sunday. And Toronto is 6-4 in their last 10, including a loss on Sunday. In fourth place, you have the Tampa Bay Rays at 21-25, currently 6 games behind the Yankees. They are 11-17 at home, 10-8 on the road. They've scored 179 runs and allowed 188. Run differential is minus 9. They are 5-5 in their last 10 games, including a loss in their most recent game. And at the bottom of the East are the Baltimore Orioles with a record of 15-30. Right now sitting 11.5 games behind the Yankees. 8-15 record at home, 7-15 record on the road. They've scored 169 runs and allowed 254. Their run differential is minus 85. They are 2-8 in their last 10 games, including 6 straight losses. The American League Central is where you'll find the best team record-wise in Major League Baseball through May 18th, and that's the Detroit Tigers at 31-16. 17-5 at home, 14-11 on the road. They've scored 253 runs and allowed 166. Their run differential is plus 87. The Tigers are 7-3 in their last 10, including a win on Sunday. The Minnesota Twins, who are the hottest team in baseball as of right now, sit in second place at 26-21. They are 5 games back of the Tigers. 15-6 at home, 11-15 on the road. They've scored 194 runs and allowed 159. Run differential is plus 35. They are 9-1 in their last 10 games, including a loss on Sunday, which snapped their 13-game win streak. In a virtual tie for third place, you have the Cleveland Guardians and the Kansas City Royals. The Guardians come in at 25-21, while the Royals are 26-22, both 5.5 games behind Detroit. Cleveland is 14-8 at home, 11-13 on the road, while Kansas City is 17-9 at home and 9-13 on the road. The Guardians scored 182 runs, allowed 202 for a run differential of -20. Meanwhile, the Royals, they've scored 159 runs and allowed 160 for a run differential of -1. Both teams are 4-6 in their last 10 games. Cleveland has lost 4 straight, while Kansas City won on Sunday. At the bottom of the Central are the Chicago White Sox at 14-33, 17 games behind the Tigers. 9-12 at home, 5-21 on the road. They've scored 157 runs and allowed 210 for a run differential of -53. They are 4-6 in their last 10 games, including 4 straight losses. Over in the American League West, the Seattle Mariners are on top with a record of 26-19. 13-11 at home, 13-8 on the road. They've scored 216 runs, allowed 193 for a run differential of +23. They are 5-5 in their last 10, including 3 straight wins. Tied for second, you have the Houston Astros and the Texas Rangers coming off a 4-game series in Arlington this past weekend. They are in a virtual tie for second place. Houston is 24-22, while Texas is 25-23. Both are 2.5 games behind the Mariners. The Astros are 15-9 at home, but only 9-13 on the road, while the Rangers are 17-10 at home and 8-13 on the road. Houston has scored 185 runs, allowed 165. Their run differential is +20. While the Rangers have scored 166 runs and allowed 165 for a run differential of +1. Houston is 6-4 in their last 10, including a win on Sunday against the Rangers, who are 7-3 in their last 10, including that aforementioned loss on Sunday to the Astros. The Athletics are in 4th place with a record of 22-25, presently 5 games behind the Mariners in the West. 8-13 record at home, 14-12 on the road. They've scored 199 runs and allowed 260. Run differential is -61. They are 2-8 in their last 10, including 5 straight losses. In last place in the West are the Los Angeles Angels, 20-25, 6 games back behind the Mariners. 9-10 at home, 11-15 on the road. They've scored 181 runs and allowed 240. Run differential is -59. They are 5-5 in their last 10, including 3 straight wins. Over in the National League, we'll start in the East, led by the New York Mets, 29-18. 17-5 at home, 12-13 on the road. 212 runs scored to 156 allowed. Run differential is +56. They are 6-4 in their last 10 games, including a loss on Sunday Night Baseball against their crosstown rivals. In second place, you've got the Philadelphia Phillies at 28-18, just a half game behind the Mets. 17-8 at home, 11-10 on the road. They've scored 216 runs while allowing 192. Run differential is +24. They are 7-3 in their last 10, including 3 straight wins. The Atlanta Braves are in third place with a record of 24-23. 5 games behind New York. 15-7 record at home, 9-16 on the road. 195 runs scored to 184 runs allowed for a run differential of +11. They are 6-4 in their last 10 games, including a win on Sunday. In fourth place, you've got the Washington Nationals at 21-27, 8.5 games behind the Mets. 10-12 at home, 11-15 on the road. They've scored 207 runs and allowed 256. Run differential is -49. They are 4-6 in their last 10, including 3 straight wins. And sitting in the basement of the NL East are the Miami Marlins with a record of 18-27. 10 games behind the Mets through Sunday night. 12-13 at home, 6-14 on the road. They've scored 187 runs and allowed 253 for a run differential of -66. Miami is 4-6 in their last 10, but they did win on Sunday. Moving on to the National League Central, you have the Chicago Cubs leading things in this division with a record of 28-19. 15-10 at home, 13-9 on the road. They've scored 270 runs while allowing 200. Their run differential is +70. They are 6-4 in their last 10, including 3 straight wins. The St. Louis Cardinals, who have been playing well as of late, sit second place at 26-21. 2 games behind the arch-rival Cubs. 15-6 at home, 11-15 on the road. They've scored 224 runs, allowed 186. Run differential is a very good +38. They are 8-2 in their last 10, and they did lose on Sunday. The Cincinnati Reds are in third place at 24-24, 4.5 games behind the Cubs. 13-12 at home, 11-12 on the road, 220 runs scored, allowed 190. Their run differential is +30. They are 5-5 in their last 10 games, including 4 straight wins. That includes a sweep of their in-state rivals, the Cleveland Guardians, over the weekend. The Milwaukee Brewers are in fourth place with a record of 22-25, 6 games behind the Cubs. 13-9 at home, 9-16 on the road. They've scored 198 runs, allowed 205. Run differential is -7. They are 3-7 in their last 10, but they did win on Sunday. Rounding out the Central are the Pittsburgh Pirates at 15-32, 13 games behind the Cubs. 9-13 at home, 6-19 on the road. They've scored 141 runs, allowed 203. Run differential is -62. They are 3-7 in their last 10, including 3 straight losses. That was the sweep at the hands of the Philadelphia Phillies over the weekend. Finally, out in the rugged National League West, the Los Angeles Dodgers remain on top with a record of 29-18. 17-7, allowing 209. Run differential is +63. They are 4-6 in their last 10 games, including 3 straight losses to the hapless Angels. The San Diego Padres and the San Francisco Giants are in a virtual tie for second place. The Padres are 27-18, while the Giants are 28-19, both 1 game behind LA. The Padres are 16-8 at home and 11-10 on the road, while the Giants are 16-7 at home and 12-12 on the road. San Diego scored 199 runs and allowed 161 for a run differential of +38. Meanwhile, San Francisco have scored 222 runs and allowed 175 for a run differential of +47. The Padres are 4-6 in their last 10 games, including 3 straight losses, while the Giants are 5-5 in their last 10 games, including 3 straight wins. The Arizona Diamondbacks are in fourth place with a record of 25-22, presently 4 games back of the Dodgers, and they're about to begin a series in LA starting tonight. The D-backs are 13-13 at home, 12-9 on the road. They've scored 243 runs, allowed 240, with a run differential of +3. They are 6-4 in their last 10, including a win in their most recent game on Sunday. And sitting at the bottom of the West is baseball's worst team, and quite possibly this may be the worst team in Major League history when all is said and done, and that is the Colorado Rockies. 8-38 put that in perspective, their win percentage is 174. So they've won about 17% of their games at this point. They are 20 and a half games behind the Dodgers for first in the West. 5-16 at home and a real bad 3-22 on the road. Colorado scored 152 runs, allowed 296. Their run differential is minus 144, which is the worst in baseball. They are 2-8 in their last 10, and they did lose on Sunday. Alright, so looking at the playoffs in both leagues, your division leaders in the American League would be the Tigers in the Central. They would be the top seed. The New York Yankees in the AL East would be the 2 seed. And the Seattle Mariners in the West would be your 3 seed. And over on the National League side, based on win percentage, I think the Dodgers would be number 1, then the Mets, as they both have the same record of 29-18. So I think it's Dodgers 1, Mets 2, or it could be the other way around. The Cubs, leaders of the Central, would be the 3 seed at the present time at 28-19. As far as the wild card races in both leagues, your 3 wild cards in the American League would be Minnesota at 26-21, Cleveland at 25-21, and Kansas City at 26-22. So as of right now, all 3 wild card spots in the American League would come from the Central Division. Both Houston and Texas are 1 game back. Boston and Toronto are 3 games back. The Athletics 3.5 games out. Tampa Bay 4 games out. The Angels 4.5 games out. Baltimore 9.5 games out. And the Chicago White Sox are 11.5 games out of that 3rd wild card spot. On the National League side, your wild card teams would be Philadelphia at 28-18, San Diego at 27-18, and San Francisco at 28-19. St. Louis would be 2 games back, Arizona 3 games back, Atlanta 4 games back, Cincinnati 4.5 games back. Then you have the Brewers at 6 back of the Giants for that last wild card. Nationals 7.5 games out. Marlins 9 games out. Pirates 13 games out. And the Colorado Rockies 19.5 games out of that last wild card spot in the National League. So those are your Major League Baseball standings through May 18th. And since I didn't have a chance to get to this, we're going to run through the final regular season schedule. Or not the schedule, but the final regular season standings in the National Hockey League, as all 32 teams played their 82 games, and here is how that shook out for the 2024-25 season. Well, starting the Eastern Conference, where the Toronto Maple Leafs won the Atlantic Division with a record of 52 wins, 26 losses, and 4 overtime losses for 108 points. With 41 regulation wins, 51 in regulation and overtime, shootout record is 1-2. They went 27-13-1 at home and 25-13-3 on the road. They've scored 268 goals while allowing 231 for a differential of plus 37. They finished the regular season red hot, 9-1 in their final 10 games, including 5 straight wins. The Tampa Bay Lightning finished in second place, 47-27-8 record for 102 points. 41 regulation wins, same as the Maple Leafs, and 45 regulation and overtime wins. The Lightning went 2-3 in the shootout. Tampa went 29-8-4 at home and 18-19-4 on the road. They scored 294 goals and allowed 219. Goal differential was plus 75, which is tops in the Eastern Conference. Over their final 10 regular season games, Tampa Bay went 5-2-3, and they did lose their regular season finale. The defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers were in third place. 47-31-4 record for 98 points. 37 regulation wins, 41 in regulation or overtime, and a perfect 6-0 record in the shootout. They went 27-12-2 at home, 20-19-2 on the road. They scored 252 goals while allowing 223. Goal differential was plus 29. And they were kind of cold going into the playoffs. 3-6-1 over their final 10 games, including 2 straight losses. In fourth place are the Ottawa Senators. 45-30-7 for 97 points. 35 regulation wins, 44 in regulation or overtime. 1-2 in the shootout. They went 27-11-3 at home, so they had a very good home record. Their road record was 18-19-4. They scored 243 goals and allowed 234. Goal differential was plus 9. They went 6-2-2 over their final 10 games, including a win in their season finale. And the Montreal Canadiens finished 5th place at 40-31-11 for 91 points. 30 regulation wins, 38 in regulation or overtime, and 2-4 in the shootout. They went 23-12-6 at home, 17-19-5 on the road. They've scored 245 goals and allowed 265 for a goal differential of minus 20. They went 7-1-2 in their final 10 regular season games, and they won their finale as well. So Toronto ended up winning the division. Tampa Bay and Florida rounded out the top 3 in the Atlantic. And the 2 wildcard teams came out of this division with Ottawa and Montreal. In 6th place and eliminated from the playoffs once again are the Detroit Red Wings. 39-35-8 for 86 points. 30 regulation wins, 36 in regulation or overtime, and a perfect 3-0 record in the shootout. They went 22-16-3 at home versus 17-19-5 on the road. They scored 238 goals, allowed 259. Goal differential was minus 21. They went 6-2-2 in their last 10, but they did lose the finale. The Buffalo Sabres finished in 7th place. 36-39-7 record for 79 points. 29 regulation wins, 32 in regulation and overtime. Shootout record was 4-2. They went 23-15-3 at home versus 13-24-4 on the road. They scored 269 goals, allowed 289. Goal differential was minus 20. They went 6-3-1 in their last 10, and they won their season finale. And rounding out the Atlantic Division were the Boston Bruins. 33-39-10 record for 76 points. 26 regulation wins, 33 in regulation or overtime. 0-1 in the shootout. They went 20-14-7 at home versus 13-25-3 on the road. Boston would score 222 goals and allow 272 for a goal differential of -50. They finished 3-6-1 in their last 10 games, including a loss in game number 82. On to the Metropolitan Division, which was won by the Washington Capitals. They ended up taking the conference based on points. 51-22-9 record for 111 points. 43 regulation wins and 49 in regulation and overtime. 2-3 in the shootout. They went 26-9-6 at home, 25-13-3 on the road. They've scored 288 goals, allowed 232. Goal differential was +56. They went 4-6 in their last 10, including a loss in game number 82. So they won the division and they clinched the top seed in the conference for the Stanley Cup playoffs. Finishing second in the Metro and going to the playoffs are the Carolina Hurricanes. 47-30-5 for 99 points. 42 regulation wins, 47 in regulation or overtime, 0-3 in the shootout. They went 31-9-1 at home. Sorry. Only 16-21-4 on the road. They scored 266 goals, allowed 233. Goal differential was +33. The Hurricanes went 3-6-1 in their last 10, and they closed the regular season losing their final 3 games. The New Jersey Devils also made the playoffs, finishing third in the Metro Division, 42-33-7 for 91 points, 36 regulation wins, 40 in regulation or overtime, 6-1 in the shootout, or rather 2-2 in the shootout. So again, 36 regulation wins, 40 in regulation or overtime, and 2-2 in the shootout. They went 19-17-5 at home, but they were much better on the road at 23-16-2. They scored 242 goals, allowed 222. Goal differential was +20. They finished 5-5 in their last 10 and lost their final game. Just missing out on the top 3 are the Columbus Blue Jackets. 40-33-9 record for 89 points. 30 regulation wins, 34 in regulation and overtime. And they have the 6-1 shootout record. They went 26-10-5 at home, which is very good. Their road record was not that good, 14-23-4. They scored 273 goals, allowed 268. Goal differential was +5. And they were pretty hot, 7-3 over their final 10 regular season games, including 6 straight in the win column. In 5th place, the New York Rangers eliminated from the playoffs. 39-36-7 for 85 points. 35 regulation wins, 38 in regulation or overtime. Only 1 shootout game the entire season, which they won. They went 19-19-3 at home and 20-17-4 on the road. Scored 256 goals, allowed 255. Goal differential is +1. They went 5-4-1 in their final 10 games, including 2 straight wins. In 6th place, you have the New York Islanders. 35-35-12 for 82 points. 28 regulation wins, 33 in regulation or overtime, 2-3 in the shootout. They went 19-17-5 at home, 16-18-7 on the road. They scored 224 goals, allowed 260. Goal differential, I should say, is -36. They went 3-5-2 in their last 10, including 2 straight losses. And then the Pennsylvania teams round out the Metro Division. The Pittsburgh Penguins finished in 7th place, 34, 36, and 12 for 80 points, 24 regulation wins, 33 in regulation or overtime, and a very bad 1-6 record in the shootout. They went 21, 15, and 5 at home, but 13, 21, and 7 on the road. They scored 243 goals, but they allowed 293. Goal differential is minus 50, which is real bad. They went 5-4-1 in their last 10 games, and they won their final game of the season. And then the Philadelphia Flyers, record-wise, would tie the Boston Bruins for the worst record in the East, points-wise. 33, 39, and 10 for 76 points. That's the same record as the Bruins. 21 regulation wins, 27 in regulation and overtime. And of course, they led the NHL with 6 shootout wins against 3 losses. They were a .500 team at home, going 20, 20, and 1. They went 13, 19, and 9 on the road. Scored 238 goals, allowed 286. Goal differential was minus 48, slightly better than the Penguins. They went 5-4-1 in their last 10 games as well, but lost their final 3. So that's the Eastern Conference. Here are your final Western Conference standings, starting in the Central Division, with the Winnipeg Jets taking the President's Trophy for most points during the regular season by any team. 56, 22, and 4 record for 116 points. 43 regulation wins, 54 in regulation and overtime, and 2-1 in the shootout. They had 30 wins, 7 losses, and 4 OT losses at home, while finishing 26 and 15 on the road. They scored 277 goals, which led the Western Conference with 2 other teams in their division, and they allowed 191. Their goal differential was a league best plus 86. They went 7-3 over their final 10 games, including a win in Game 82. Second place and making the playoffs as a top 3 team in the Central are the Dallas Stars. 50-26 with 6 OT losses for 106 points. 41 regulation wins, 48 in regulation or overtime, 2-2 in the shootout. They went 28-10-3 at home, 22-16-3 on the road. 277 goals scored to 224 allowed gives them a goal differential of plus 53. They were kind of ice cold going into the playoffs though. 3-5-2 over their final 10 regular season games, including 7 straight losses. The third team to make the playoffs as a top 3 in the Central are the Colorado Avalanche. 49-29-4 for 102 points. 40 regulation wins, 45 in regulation or overtime, 4-3 in the shootout. They went 26-12-3 at home and 23-17-1 on the road. Like the Jets and Stars, they also scored 277 goals. However, Colorado allowed 234. Their goal differential was plus 43. They went 5-4-1 in their last 10 games, including a win in game number 82. Making the playoffs as a wild card team, finishing 4th in the Central, are the Minnesota Wild. 45-30-7 for 97 points. 33 regulation wins, 42 in regulation or overtime, and 3-3 in the shootout. They went 22-17-2 at home, 23-13-5 on the road, so they had a pretty good road record this year. They scored 228 goals, allowed 239. Goal differential was minus 11. They went 5-3-2 in their last 10, including 2 straight wins. The other wild card team in the Western Conference also is the 5th place team in the Central, and that's the St. Louis Blues. 44-30-8 record for 96 points. 32 regulation wins, 40 in regulation or overtime, and 4-2 in the shootout. They went 24-14-3 at home, 20-16-5 on the road. The Blues scored 254 goals, allowed 233. Goal differential was plus 21. They went 7-2-1 in their last 10, including a win in their most recent, in their final game, I should say. In 6th place, you have the Utah Hockey Club, now known as the Utah Mammoth. 38-31-13 record for 89 points, 30 regulation wins, 37 in regulation or overtime, 1-4 in the shootout. 1 second. Sorry about that. In their first season in Utah, they went 18-15-8 at home and 20-16-5 on the road. Scored 241 goals, allowed 251. Goal differential was minus 10, which is respectable. They went 6-2-2 in their last 10 games, but lost game number 82. 7th place are the Nashville Predators. 30-44-8 for 68 points. 24 regulation wins, 28 in regulation or overtime, 2-0 in the shootout. They went 20-18-3 at home, but were very bad away from the Music City, going 10-26-5. They scored 214 goals, allowed 274, for a goal scoring differential of minus 60. Sorry again. Nashville finished 3-7 in their final 10, but did win game number 82. And once again, sitting at the bottom of the Central Division are the Chicago Blackhawks at 25-46-11 for 61 points. This is the second worst record points-wise in the NHL. 20 regulation wins, 23 in regulation or overtime, 2-4 in the shootout. They went 15-20-6 at home versus 10-26-5 on the road. Same road record as Nashville. Chicago scored 226 goals, allowed 296. Goal differential is minus 70. They went 4-4-2 over their final 10 regular season games, including 2 straight wins to close out the year. And finally, we go to the Pacific Division, which was won by the Vegas Golden Knights with a record of 50-22-10 for 110 points. They had 46 regulation wins, 49 in regulation or overtime, only 1-5 in the shootout. They went 29-9-3 at home, 21-13-7 on the road. The Knights scored 275 goals and allowed 219 for a goal differential of plus 56. They went 6-2-2 over their final 10 games, and they won game number 82. Headed to the playoffs as the second place team in the Pacific are the Los Angeles Kings. 48-25-9 for 105 points. 43 regulation wins, 47 in regulation or overtime, 1-3 in the shootout. They went 31-6-4 at home, probably the best home record in the NHL. Only 17-19-5 on the road, however. LA scored 250 goals, allowed 206 for a goal differential of plus 44. They went 8-2 over their last 10, however, they did lose their final game. And also making the playoffs as the third place team in the Pacific are the Edmonton Oilers. 48-29-5 for 101 points, 36 regulation wins, 48 in regulation or overtime, 0-1 in the shootout. They went 25-13-3 at home, 23-16-2 on the road, with 259 goals scored and 236 allowed for a goal differential of plus 23. Edmonton went 7-3 in their last 10, and they won game number 82. Missing out on the playoffs in fourth place are the Calgary Flames. 41-27-14 for 96 points, 31 regulation wins, 36 in regulation or overtime, and 5-2 in the shootout. They went 23-12-6 at home, 18-15-8 on the road. They scored 225 goals and allowed 238 for a goal scoring margin of minus 13. They were 7-1-2 in their last 10 regular season games, including closing the year out with 4 straight victories. The Vancouver Canucks finished in 5th place at 38-30-14 for 90 points. 28 regulation wins, 35 in regulation and overtime, and 3-2 in the shootout. They went 17-16-8 at home, 21-14-6 on the road, with 236 goals scored to 253 allowed. Goal scoring differential is minus 17. They went 4-4-2 over their final 10 games, including a loss in game 82. The Anaheim Ducks finished in 6th place with a record of 35-37-10 for 80 points. 24 regulation wins, 31 in regulation or overtime, 4-2 in the shootout. They went 21-18-2 at home and 14-19-8 on the road, with 221 goals scored and 263 goals allowed for a differential of minus 42. Anaheim finished the season 3-5-2 over their final 10 and 4 straight losses. In 7th place are the Seattle Kraken. 35-41-6 for 76 points, 28 regulation wins, 33 in regulation or overtime, and 2-3 in the shootout. They went 18-18-5 at home, 17-23-1 on the road. They scored 247 goals and allowed 265 for a goal differential of minus 18, which is a little bit respectable. They went 5-5 in their last 10 games, but they did lose game number 82 to finish things off. And the worst team in the NHL in the 2024-2025 regular season is the San Jose Sharks. 20-50-12 for 52 points. 14 regulation wins, 18 in regulation or overtime, and 2-5 in the shootout. They went 12-27-2 at home, but were really bad on the road, going 8-23-10. They scored 210 goals all season long while allowing 315. Their goal scoring margin of minus 105 is the worst in hockey. They finished 0-7-3 over their last 10 games, and they closed out the regular season losing 11 in a row. Ouch. Alright, there you have it. The final NHL regular season standings for 2024-25 plus the Major League Baseball standings through May 18th. We'll be back next Monday with another look at the Major League Baseball standings, and we'll even throw some stats in there as well. So make sure you join me for that. In the meantime, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell and get notified every time I go live. Big Al signing off. Thanks for watching and enjoy all the sports action this week. Peace out.